Welcome back, my fellow mobile gamers of YouTube. I'm so glad to have you here. Thanks for clicking this video. Now, I hope today's game is going to be really interesting for you. I quite like the game, and it's called Ninja Prime Tap Quest. Now, this is an interesting one, as it's a new game from Iron Horse Games, the publishers of Wizard's Wheel 2 and Rocket Valley Tycoon, both of which I've covered in the past right here on the YouTube channel. And these guys are just pumping out idle games. But the thing about the idle games, though, is that they oftentimes look like normal non-idle games. And that's actually also the case with Ninja Prime. So the setup we've got here is that we attack monsters automatically, and there's a few bosses waiting for us throughout each planet we land on as well, and we're slowly working our way towards that boss right now, by the way. And the planets, well, you can think of them a bit like levels or zones in a normal, say, RPG or shooter game. Now, our skills are used automatically too. We've got our skills over here on the right side of the screen, but we can also manually trigger them, which we definitely want to do, by the way, especially at the bosses, since even though they're used automatically, they're not used very fast. So to optimize our damage output, we definitely want to be manually spamming those buttons as often as we can. Now, using a skill then starts a cooldown timer, but there isn't any mana cost to using a skill, so you might as well just use these skills as often as you can, unless, of course, you want to save up to use them at a boss fight. And we're getting very close to a boss fight here. You can see the progress in the top middle part of the screen, so the boss should be coming up right over here, but we have very little HP left. You can see the HP on the left side of the screen in the top over here. We have 185,000 in power, and that was the boss. I think we defeated him, actually. That was surprisingly easy. He had very little HP left. So now we're done with this planet, I think. So let's head in here and see if we can advance. Yes, there we go. Our little spaceship is on its way to the next part of the Arcturus solar system, and then we just fight until we eventually die. We will die eventually, and when we die, we get an increase in overall attack power, which of course makes it easier to continue after respawning. Now, as you can see in this level we're playing right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bosses waiting for us, and we actually died for the first time here, so we can recall. Now, thankfully, when we defeat even just one of these bosses, we don't ever have to meet it again. Thankfully. So once we defeat a boss and we respawn, we don't have to fight that again. We can continue on to the next one. And then eventually we'll of course be able to continue to the next planet. Now, there's also quite a convoluted setup of different menus in the game. The UI isn't exactly the best I've seen in a mobile game, but we'll try to go through them anyway to give you guys a quick overview. So first, in the bottom right corner, we've got our ninja character menu. So in here we can change our skills, and we can also see a detailed descriptions of our skills. So for example, we've got 2 different skills we could use as our cosmic skill. We've got the one that we use right now, which is this one called Nova Burst. It creates 12 giant balls of plasma which launch uniformly around the ninja, and Nova balls dissipate after a short while if no enemy is struck. So that's the one we're using right now, but we could switch to this one instead. The Plasmonic Storm creates a plasmonic storm by summoning 20 plasma balls from surrounding areas. The ninja holds in place for 0.5 seconds while summoning. So that is interesting. I think we might want should we switch to that one instead? Let's do that. So we can drag it over here, and now that is the one we're using instead. So let's see. Okay, I think we died here. Oh wait, actually the run was complete. So let's try this one skill. That is how it looks like. That's pretty awesome. I think that might actually be the better one. The other one was pretty good when we were up close to lots of enemies, of course, because those Nova balls spawned right around our character, whereas now they spawn at random places throughout the map. So over on the left side, we've got our spaceship then, and from here we can see our solar system in the top left corner of the screen, including missions. We can see those over here, and we even sometimes have a conflict ongoing that we can choose to participate in, and these conflicts are small tasks that we can choose to complete for a quick bonus. That's a great way if you're stuck at some point in the level you're playing right now. You can go in here and try to complete one of these conflicts as a quick way of getting some sort of boost. Now, we can also open up our research lab, which we find over here. Now, research is interesting as well. You definitely want to do research as often as you can. We can start research by spending data points, and we earn those through normal gameplay. It takes a while to complete research, though, unless we spend mana on doing that. So, for example, right now you can see there's 5 hours left until this research is done. We can also choose to initiate a new research, or we can choose to finish this one. Accelerating it, though, actually costs more plasma than we have right now. We do earn it through normal gameplay, but I guess we just have to wait a bit longer. What we can do, though, I think, is initiate some new type of research. So let's initiate tech damage 0, which adds 20% to tech skill damage. And I think we should be able to do that. Yes, there we go. That's going to take 11 hours and 59 minutes. Now, I think we might be able to initiate a single one more. So let's initiate cosmic damage 0. There we go. So we've got our research lab all powered up now. Now we just have to return in, well, between 5.5 and 11.5 hours to get these bonuses. We have to activate them, so be sure to go into the research lab and actually do that. It looks like we died at this boss once more, but run complete here, and we got a 5.6% increase in our attack speed. Now, there's a few more things I want to show you guys, because if we go back to our spaceship here, then in the top right corner of the spaceship, we find an overview of our current run, our last run. We can also see some stuff about the lore of the game, as well as a detailed, and this is interesting, a detailed overview of our statistics. So we can see how many kills we've got. I've killed 7,922 aliens in this game so far. I've played for 11 hours of idle game, just about an hour and 9 minutes of active game time, and that's pretty cool. So you can essentially go in here at any time and see, well, I would say pretty detailed statistics, and I love that. The more statistics in my mobile games, the better. Wait, let's spam some of these. Oh, we died already. We constantly die at that first boss. How much of an increase did we get this time? About 5% again. 7.5% actually. That's not too bad. So I think this time I want to be careful about using the skills at just the right time at the boss in an attempt to actually defeat this first boss in Arcturus number 4, planet number 4, which is the one we're at right now. Now, in the middle right side of the spaceship menu, we've got the last interesting thing, which is the cosmetic menu. And here we can pick between a few different looks for our ninja and our spaceship. So we can, for example, switch to a pink suit instead of the disciple look. We can also switch to a little sword instead of this baseball bat. And we can change to a hive ship instead of the standard ship. Actually, let's do that right now. And that is absolutely free to do. There's not a lot we can do in here just yet. Oh, we forgot the boss. But there isn't a lot we can do in the cosmetic menu just yet. But hopefully that will change. Hopefully that will be expanded in the future. The game is still somewhat new. It's a few months old. So I do expect that it will see some content updates in the near future, let's say over the next half year or so. But that is the core gameplay loop. We fight monsters, we grow stronger, we earn more currency to upgrade ourselves, and then we continue. Now, the idle part of the game means that we grow stronger even when we're not playing the game, of course. Thankfully, however, unlike a game like Penguin Isle, for example, progression in Ninja Prime is actually very, very fast, which means it can easily be played mostly as an active game instead. You don't have to just play for 5 minutes and then return back later again. You can easily play it for, I would say, 10, maybe 15, maybe even 20 minutes at a time of active gameplay, and you just can't do that in a game like Penguin Isle because you'll run out of things to do because progression is so slow. So that's not the case in this game. In fact, in just about 10 minutes of active play, you'll probably grow a lot stronger than in 1 or maybe even 2 hours of normal gameplay. Now, as for the monetization of this game, there are no advertisements whatsoever, which is frankly quite surprising, in a good way of course, but just surprising since most idle games have lots of advertisements. Oh, we're already at the boss again, and I forgot to spam our skills. Did we get the boss? We did indeed get the boss. That is so awesome, and we ran out of HP just after defeating the boss. But that's okay though, now we don't have to defeat that boss the next time we respawn. But as I was saying, I'm really glad to see that there are no advertisements. What we have instead though are just lots of in-app purchases to buy more credits, which are used to buy skill loot boxes, which has a chance of allowing us to get a new skill. And you can see some of those in-app purchases in here in the in-app purchase menu. We can also buy chests or loot boxes with random consumable items. That's these that we're looking at right here, right now. Or we can even buy cosmetics directly. So if we go up here to skins, we can see we can spend some of the game's premium currency on buying some pretty wacky, some pretty out there, either cosmetics for our character, for our weapon, or for our spaceship. Now, each of these cosmetics come with a small stat boost as well. It doesn't really seem to me like you'll ever need to buy any of these in-app purchases though, thankfully. You can enjoy the game as a free player, that's what I'm doing, and I'm quite enjoying it at this point. And so the monetization is actually pretty nice in this game, I'm happy to report. Sure, it will make you progress faster if you buy some of these in-app purchases, but you can also just wait another day for some passive idle gains, of course. So, my conclusion on this game is that Ninja Prime is a pretty interesting idle game. It's an interesting setting. I haven't seen any game in this type of setting before, this space sci-fi setting where it's still really an action combat game in some way. It's a bit of a weird mix, but I'm liking it. The monetization is somewhat consumer friendly as well. You might feel enticed to buy some of the in-app purchases, but you don't ever really have to. Progression is very fast in the game as well, which is a big plus to me. I don't really like idle games that are too slow. That was what killed Penguin Isle for me, even though the game looks aesthetically beautiful, and I know that quite a few of you guys in the Nimble Nation really love that game. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice game, but I just like my idle games to progress a bit faster, a bit like Ulala Idle Adventure, which is another great idle game, and I liked that because the progression was so fast in that game. You felt like you were really making great progress when you played the game actively, and of course when you returned after having been idle for a while, there was also a huge boost waiting for you. So that's how I like my idle games. This is a pretty great one. I hope a lot of you guys will enjoy it as well. The download links can be found in the description box down below this video. So what do you think, Nimble Nation? Is Ninja Prime worth playing? I'd love to hear what you think about the game in the comment section down below this video or over on our community's Discord server. And you can find the link for that Discord server also in the description box. I've left the link below this video. Now, as for today's mobile gaming news, it's actually a really interesting one because apparently EA Games' mobile revenue has decreased 20% between 2018 and 2019, and I'm happy to hear that, and I'll tell you why. Because they still did earn $177 million in the second quarter of 2019, but it is a lot lower than what it was last year, which is great news for us consumers, as it hopefully helps show EA that we don't really appreciate pay-to-win monetization. I hope they'll eventually learn that lesson, and I do hope that their revenue will decrease even more because EA Games just have some typically really bad and anti-consumer friendly monetization schemes going on. But here's what I am looking forward to though, Apex Legends on mobile, because EA has reconfirmed that it will be happening and hopefully already next year. So fingers crossed it'll be amazing and have cosmetics only monetization just like Fortnite and PUBG Mobile and all the other Battle Royale games out there. But I guess we'll learn that soon enough. I will be sure to cover the game, of course, as soon as it releases. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you had a great time here today. Thanks for sticking around to hear me ramble about Ninja Prime. And until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.